Hello and welcome everyone to the Friday, June 3rd edition of the Upstream Marketing Contributor Comms team. We're working on changing the name to Totally Contributor Comms, but that's not done yet. This is our first meeting back after KubeCon. Reminder to everyone that we are a part of SIG Contributor Experience, which is part of the Kubernetes project, which is part of the CNCF, which is part of the Linux Foundation, which means that we have a code of conduct. So basically, be excellent to each other and be respectful of your fellow participants and speakers. Again, this meeting is recorded. It will be going up on YouTube later. Not that I think many people watch these, but the recording will be out there for warning. So first thing for today, if we have any new folks who would like to introduce yourselves, please do so now. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here. If you're comfortable, totally optional. I think we have like one new person.
Hey, so I'm right now, hello. I'm kind of new to this meeting. So hello everyone. I am Jayesh. I am currently working in a company called Spectro Cloud. I've been driving the Meta Contributors APAC block series effort for some time now. So I actually made a draft document for our third blog, which focuses on China region. And actually, I wanted a review on that. And I've posted the link in the SIG ContribEx channel. So if folks can review it, that would be great. And then we can publish the blog.
Awesome. Welcome, Jayesh, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Welcome. And thank you for coming. I did see that request on that new blog. If you could you send the link to the draft in the chat or put it in the notes so that we make sure that
find it in the new items. I have kept it there.
Oh, perfect. Haha. Yeah, that's where that belongs. Thank you, Avinash, for putting that in there. Meet our contributor blog, and that's focused on the China APAC region, focused on China. Saw that and was excited about it. I know you all have been working on it for a while, and it's had its challenges. So glad to see a draft out, ready to go. All right. With that, we'll move on into updates and big wins. The only thing I put in there is that KubeCon is done. Yay! It's always a big rush leading up to KubeCon. And I know a lot of folks were very busy beforehand with other things as well. But we did get the tweets done, just barely. We got them all scheduled. Chris and I had intended to go over some of our other work at KubeCon, which didn't really happen, but we'll go over all of that in our table as we go through our campaigns in progress, and we'll discuss that. Aside from that, just thank you everyone for your work on KubeCon. I still need to send out a thank you tweet to everyone who wrote tweets. Apologize for not doing that yet. There was KubeCon. Cool. Anything else that folks want to throw into updates, big wins before we move into our big table of campaigns in progress, since I guess we've already been over the new item? Updates, big wins. Cool. We'll go over the updates for everything pretty much in the table. And if there's anything we've missed, we can bring it back in later. So let's start going through our campaigns in progress then. And again, new item is the contributor blog. So if you have a chance, definitely make sure to do that. I guess I'll go ahead and add that into our table now because I like our table, even though I feel like I've been kind of bad at keeping it up lately, but Now that KubeCon's done, hopefully that'll change. Review requested. Would anyone like to claim that while I'm putting it into the table? Like, I like to assign people to things if they think that they'll be able to do it, so that we can at least check in the next meeting to see if that was done, if they need help, if someone else needs to take it over or anything like that. Anyone think that they're going to get through reviewing this blog?
Oh, I'm already reviewing it. Is it just the one APAC for the meter?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually made some edits already. So
I figured you'd probably get that done real quick. Cool. So I guess I'll put you on that just to check with you next week to make sure that was done. Which will probably be like a week from when you did it, so you won't remember it anymore. In progress. Gonna put that as the status. All right, and we'll go back up to the top here. I don't see Hina today, so I guess we won't have an update on that. But to review what Hina is working on, we've been working on trying to create a team within GitHub for issues to be assigned to, so that we'll all get alerted when we actually have issues that we need to look at in GitHub. Which has been a problem because we have a couple of places where issues could be created that would be intended for our team, and we have to like go and manually check those, or preferably, and what actually works is people ping us on Slack to let us know that the issues are there, and then we take care of them. So we're working on fixing that by creating a team. And Hina has made some progress on that. She finished the first one the last time that we had a meeting. Which I could delete off of here, but I think I'm going to leave it on because it is a prerequisite to the next one, and I want to kind of keep those two parts of this thing together. I guess the first one is creating the team. So we should have the team now, but we don't have the issues template update, which would automatically assign our team to new issues in K community. So theoretically, I guess you could create an issue and assign our team now, because our team should be in. Yeah. Cool. So if anybody ever wants to test that, I guess we could do that. Gonna move on from that one. Next one is Frederico. This has been an interesting journey for us, hasn't it?
Yes, well, I can't complain, but it's been the best. Just like the best way to program is to actually do some program. Here, the best way to learn is to actually find some obstacles. Not really obstacles. So, a very short update on this. So the initial, I had an initial conversation with Tim Bannister around some of the concerns that he had. As mentioned here, it was nothing. It was not an obstacle. It was more of a general concern on some edge cases that can emerge eventually, and that specifically reviewers should ask contributors in those specific cases to manually squash their commits. But this is like a relatively rare case. So I went forward with the tweet. As you know, then the policy around not linking to external sites popped up. So
which we need to document is the issue.
Exactly. Yes, true. If that's not documented, I could certainly also have a stab at it, because to solve this, I ended up proposing a change to the community pages. There is already a reference about these methods that is mentioned in the tweet on the cheat sheets, but an additional, more explicit introduction in terms of the actual contribution guide is not a bad idea. I made an initial suggestion. Tim went there and proposed some corrections, and I've already accepted and squashed and it's there. Now it's waiting for someone else to go there and review it. I think that if I understood the process correctly, someone needs to do the okay to test thing there, and then I would assign to Paris for final review. I can put the Git the PR link here.
Lovely. Thank you. We did actually have, I was trying to find it. We did have some guidelines on tweets. It looks like we have some guidelines on emails, which is cool. Didn't realize that. Things I should look at more are repo. So we did actually have some guidance on that, but I think it was part of the role definition of the social media lead role, which we're totally reworking our concept of roles right now. I'll do a quick overview of the history on that. When we initially started out as a team, we had specific roles because we were created by Paris, and she came up with what she thought the roles would be. Over the next 2 years, it came down to a group of folks who were generally in the meetings, and we just kind of did everything. So the roles weren't really being useful, and they weren't. So the page where we defined our roles wasn't really defining how our group actually worked. So we changed it to be closer to how our group was actually working. And then we got a lot of people who wanted to actually do roles and have shadowing and all of these awesome, wonderful things to actually keep this group going for a longer period of time. So we're now in the process of undoing those changes and kind of redefining what roles should be in this group. So that might be part of that work, is defining some of these guidelines. I don't know. I'll find that later.
From my side, if I can be of help in any of that, I surely am open to it. Some of this stuff does require some more contextual knowledge of what exists and what is the desired outcome, and some of that I don't actually possess right now. But anyway, I can at least assist on some of the stuff being done.
Of course, I think it'll be a group effort to define these new roles and stuff. So everything we do will factor into it, I hope. That's the idea anyway. Lovely. I put a link in the chat to our repo, by the way, if anyone hasn't seen our repo for our subproject. It has some really nice stuff in it. It has a nice charter that really well defines what the goal of our team is. So there's some useful stuff in there. There's also some useful resources for one of the activities that we'll talk about later in this table. So we'll move on. Do you need any immediate help with that though, before I move on with the tweet thing? You said that Paris has it for review?
I'm perhaps. So right now, for my side, I'm on waiting mode because I think that I've done, I think that the PR needs a reviewer to do it, the okay to test, and then I would do the assign to Paris. That is my expectation, but maybe there's a practice in which the okay to test is not needed and I can just assign Paris to it right now. That is something that I would love to hear about. Just so that the PR isn't there with no one doing anything because everyone is waiting for something.
Yes, you should be able to assign. I don't seem to be logged in right now, so I'll have to fix that. But you should be able to do /assign in a comment, /assign and then the @ and that should do it. Is that not working?
I just didn't, just to be sure, I just didn't do it because the ever helpful Kubernetes CI robot told me that first a Kubernetes member would need to verify the patch. If so, they should reply with okay to test. And only after that would I assign to Paris Pittman for review. That is my, let's call it more one-to-one reading of the instructions that I'm getting on the PR. But again, maybe the okay to test doesn't make sense in this case, and I should just move forward to assigning.
I think that's the case. Like, I think the okay to test is more for code contributions where they're waiting to see if the code is okay. So I think it's fine. You could also assign it to like me or something, so we can do an initial review and then bring in Paris if we want, or something like that.
Oh, so that's okay. So I will do that right now.
We're pretty loose with things here. If I can even be on those, which repos that in? Contributor.
That's in the
Tweets?
community one.
It's in community. I don't know. I don't work with community all that much, so I might not be that
But-
helpful here.
So should I assign it to you or to Paris?
Maybe we'll come back to this after this.
Okay,
I'll take
no
a
worries.
closer
I
look
will
at
not
it.
do anything. Yeah, we can do, even in Slack we go through it. No worries.
Cool. I'm logging into GitHub real quick, so
Yeah.
excuse me for a moment. Oh. There we go. That should work. There we go. Yes, I am logged in now. I will take a look at that and
Okay,
let
perfect.
you know about it later. So I'll like
Excellent. Thank you very much.
add myself on that. Thank you. All right, we should move on to the next thing, which I don't think Virgula is here. And I don't know if any of the rest of you will have updates, but auto-generating blog tweets. This is something we're going to work on once we get a buffer account, which we don't have yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. Unless you all want to add anything in there, you can post it in the chat or something. Interrupt, feel free. Next thing, scheduling tweets. This is just, I think this is the automation issue that we have with our GitHub repo where we currently do tweet automation. It's really nice because anyone can submit a tweet that they would like to have tweeted from Kate's contributors, but it's unfortunate because we can't actually schedule when those tweets go out right now because of limitations in automation. So we're trying to fix that by getting an account for a tool called Buffer. Same thing, same fix as the last one. So we should be getting that very, very soon, but I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm going to move on from that. Role description. Avinash, you had some updates there, I believe.
Yep. So I've shared you what Paris shared me about her suggestions. I knew that you were busy after KubeCon, so I really didn't wanted to bother you.
It's great though that you went ahead and sent it. I'm sorry I didn't respond yet, but I did
Yeah,
look
it's
over
okay.
it and I was like, that looks like a list. Yeah, I generally think it looks good. And these roles are not set in stone, even when we decide on definitions for them. We can always change them. So we shouldn't treat it as too heavy of a barrier. So it looks good to me. What should be our next step with this? Do you feel like this is something you'd be ready to go ahead and put on the page? Would you like to go ahead and create a PR for it so that we can get more reviewers on it as is? Or do you want some help with rewriting it? What are you thinking?
I can go for the PR, but I think it would be much more better if someone helped me in writing it in a proper way.
Okay. So maybe we could set up some time this week and just kind of go over it together.
That's fine, perfect to me.
Cool. So, set up here. Sounds good. Hopefully that'll kick off a wave of new role descriptions for us. This is something we've been talking about for several meetings for anyone who's new, is defining these new roles and getting shadow processes worked out and kind of figuring out the processes so that everyone can learn and grow and own things here. So this is part of that process. And we'll get there. So I'll move on to the next thing. Tweet about feature blogs that will come out. We've still got work to do there. Oh boy, are we probably behind. So there was a thread in the contributor experience Slack right before KubeCon where the PR lead of the last release sent us all of the feature blogs that were expected and their dates. But the issue with it was that we didn't have the public links. You can get them from the PRs, which we had, but it was kind of a process to go in and find what the public links were going to be for each one. And it was KubeCon, so we didn't have time to do that. So there are still some feature blogs that are probably out now that we haven't tweeted about. And I have assigned myself to that. Thank you, Past Caslin. So what needs to happen here right now is someone, which is probably me since I've assigned myself to it, needs to go through the list of the feature blogs that we had from before, see which ones we've tweeted about, and figure out which ones we haven't tweeted about and just get tweets going on the rest of those. I think there might still be a couple that haven't gone out yet, or did they finish up by May? I'm not sure. If there are a couple that haven't gone out yet, then kind of watch for those and make sure that we tweet about them if you see them.
I think the last one already went out, but I'll take a look.
So, right? I think
Yeah.
it was like right at the end of May. So we've just got to
Yes.
finish that up now. That's what happens around KubeCon. Cool. We did do the special history of Docker Shim blog and the release blog. We did tweet about those too, I think. And then we did tweet about several of the feature blogs, but there were several of them, which is not fully reflected here. I'll just remove this part because we've kind of finished all of those. I guess I'll put that in the status. Put it below whatever this is. Actually, I'll get rid of that. All blogs are out now. Just need to finish up tweets. So I will go ahead and keep owning that unless folks specifically would like to help with that, in which case I will help you do that. And I'll move on. Review repo, look into adding descriptions of various roles. Chris and I were going to do that at KubeCon, but it ended up taking us basically the entire contributor summit to get all of the rest of the tweets scheduled. Really should have done that before I got to KubeCon. Notes for the future. Well, in the future, this won't be a problem because we will hopefully have buffer, which will allow us to actually schedule the tweets. So it won't just be on one of the folks with the keys to the Twitter account to do all of that scheduling. We'll be able to work together to do it in the future, which will be very nice. Yeah, so this roles thing is still open, as we mentioned. Everyone's experiences factor into it, and your feedback is always welcome as we establish these roles. And once we have definitions out there, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you want to do something with them, just let us know. They're for us to use. They should be functional concepts. We've got a few definitions here of the concepts. 3 role concepts that we'll probably put in there. And Chris and I will check in on that probably this week. He was out today, but I'll check with him on that after this. Next one, the KubeCon EU tweet spreadsheet. Yay, we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove that row because it is done. Technically, I do still have one thing to do there, which is the thank you tweet, because I keep mentioning it because I want to make sure that I do it. But I'm just going to do that after this. So I'm not going to even bother putting it on the table. Next thing, update GitHub repo to contributor comms name. There is an issue out for that. Oh no, this is the issue for buffer. Well, there is an issue out though for the name change. I need to make sure that I get the proper link for that from Chris. So I'll try to update that. These got created, this one and one other related one got created right before KubeCon. So they've kind of just been sitting around for the last couple of weeks. But Chris and I talked about them briefly this week, and we'll make sure that they get going again. I'm gonna like put this buffer thing up here into the two issues that are solved by buffer and remove it from here. Cool. Next thing, new SIG Docs, SIG Spotlight. Pernisoar wanted to do an interview of SIG Docs, which will be Ray.
Yeah, I would like to get their co-chairs also.
Yeah.
We can set up a time. Next
Definitely.
week is kind of busy, but I'm sure we could squeeze something in. And Pernisoar, just let me know what time's good for you, and I'll see if it works with the other co-chairs.
Yeah, Pernisoar, are you ready now? I know that you were busy last month. Are you ready to start work on this?
Yes. Done at my college and also KubeCon experience. So I'm good.
Cool. So
We'll text
Pernisoar.
Ray async and we can start.
Awesome.
All right, sounds good.
And I think someone else had messaged me about an interest in working on one of these spotlights as well. I will review once again that this is an ongoing. Who was it?
Atharva, yeah.
Oh, there you are. Yes. I was like, it's one of the folks who's like regularly here, I think. So I'll put your name into this as well. Let's have a DM conversation after this or at your convenience sometime soon. And I'll make sure that you have all of the resources for these blog posts, and we'll get you started. To recap the concept, this is an ongoing series where we try to interview the chairs of a special interest group within Kubernetes. It's a great opportunity to learn about a different special interest group and what they do and what they need and what they're working on. And then you write a blog post about what you learned from the interview. We have a few examples of cases where folks from this group have created those in the past. We have a few resources like example questions that you can use in talking to the chairs. We recommend doing it asynchronously over a Google Doc. All of these kind of high-level points I can guide you through if you want to do one. Just reach out to me.
I think I will. Are there any SIGs that are still missing from the list, or are we now just cycling
I think
around?
there's a lot.
There's a lot that we haven't done yet.
Yeah, I think this could be something interesting, because speaking with people about SIGs is an excellent way to actually not only learn, but it's something that I would like to do. So I will ping you on this.
Awesome. I'll put your name in there too, just to kind of track that all these folks are interested in working on it. Anyone else at any time, feel free to ping me and I'll get you started on this stuff. Cool. And there was a request for a review of the Katakoda by Harshita.
Yeah.
Federico, you had volunteered to try that out.
Yes, I did. So I haven't directly replied to Harshita yet, even because I wanted to sync with Avinash first. So two points here. One, I did an initial review on it. I have a couple of comments about it. Specifically, I liked it. I think for me it would be super useful if you could go over a specific example of like a mock contribution, just to see that part of the process. But I will go into. I apologize for the sound, because it's something is happening in the street. So I will share those notes perhaps in the Slack channel, for example, and at Avinash as well. But there's another a more structural change that I mentioned that was mentioned in our Slack channel, which is Katakoda itself is going to disappear in terms of an open platform. So it's going to be a Riley learning internal. So I think that my comments and Avinesh's comments would still apply in principle and in concept, but the actual playgrounds thing will have to be done elsewhere because Catacoda, I think it's 1 month from being closed.
Good to know.
Actually, so the Cata, we use Catacoda a lot around Kubernetes.io. So they reached out, the maintainers of Catacoda, they reached out and said that they actually put this all the things for Kubernetes.io on a separate server so that the stuff on Kubernetes.io that uses Catacoda will still remain. And Deba asked for a specific one as well. I think it's the one that ContribEx uses, if that is included as well. I haven't heard a reply about that. So there's a possibility that that Catacoda will still be available for ContribEx use. And the date is going to close down as June 15th. So it's actually like 13 days.
It's 2 weeks from now, yeah.
I've already looked at it. Alternatives like Killer Coda. I know Deba was looking at that too, and play with Kubernetes as well. There's other ones, killer.sh. Excuse me. Yeah. So, but hopefully the ones for this and for ContribEx will still be alive after June 15th.
Lovely. So for your feedback, providing it to Harshita, you'll want to go ahead and just make a DM thread with Harshita.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And,
I will.
and Avinesh,
do it with Harshita and with Avinesh as well. Perfect.
Yeah. Avinesh, did you have any updates? Have you looked through it?
Yep, I did initial reviews for her work, and I also give the feedback. So something strange was happening actually. That Catacoda was not reflecting the changes done in the PR.
Oh.
So I really don't know what issue it was. I informed Deva as well about the issue, and I think he's quite busy.
Seems to be.
Is there a PR for this?
Yep, we do have a PR for this. I'll share the link.
Yes,
okay,
please.
I was unaware of that. Thank you.
When Harshita came in, she just asked us to give the feedback over Slack. So I wasn't aware of it either. We didn't have notes on it. So you didn't miss anything.
Excellent.
Cool. And if you can grab that link, we'll go ahead and put that in the notes though, so that you'll have that. Cool. So it sounds like that's moving along though. That PR not updating the Catacoda issue sounds problematic. Did you all resolve that, or is it still a thing?
I'm sorry, are we talking about the Catacoda?
Yes, the Catacoda. Is the issue with the PR changes not reflecting in Catacoda still happening?
I didn't check it. Maybe I'll check it with Deba again and see if things are working good here.
Okay, doke. Sounds good. Oh, hey, that was a thing that happened? Yay. Way to go, Ray. So our next item is tweeting about the upcoming release webinar, which is not upcoming anymore. It's already happened. Thanks to Ray, who created the issue for that, and Chris went ahead and approved it. So we've already done a tweet on that. Claps. I'll go ahead and remove that item from the table. Delete row. There we go. Next thing, marketing team to contributor comms name. GitHub repo to contributor comms name. Marketing team to contributor comms rename. It's the same. I'm going to merge these into one cell. There's something slightly different about these two, I think. So We're working on updating the GitHub repo to the contributor columns name instead of upstream marketing, which means that we need to change it in several places. So Chris was working on some automation to go through and find all of those places where it needs to change and doing that. So there's kind of two elements to that. They're both reflected in the same issue. It looks like, I thought maybe there was a separate issue for that, but at least we don't have another link. Anyway, I chatted with Chris briefly about that work. And I'll check back in with him later. Next item, annual report. We've already tweeted about that, so that's good. So I guess it's out now. Is that what our tweet said? I actually put a link. I thought I put a link to the tweet in the notes. Yes.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet about this.
I put it in the wrong notes. I put it in the May 13th notes. Okay, I just put it in updates and big wins for this time. And there's a link to the tweet there. I guess we'll grab that link and put it in here. Yeah, it is now live. So this is a really big deal for the community, and it's something that we'll want to make sure that we're promoting. We'll probably want to break out a few pieces of it and create additional tweets, which we can try to work out now, or we can hold for a little bit later, I guess. But basically the annual report goes through a lot of what the Kubernetes community is doing and what we are and how we do what we do, I guess. There's a lot of detail in it. And a lot of it is really useful for contributors to see, because, for example, one thing that we really want to point out is the help wanted section, which we do in this tweet, because each SIG has things that they want to do or that they're working on and they need some help with, especially from people with specific skills. So the help wanted section of the annual report is one place where we can see what skills and what people our SIGs actually need in order to get their work done. So that's something that we should promote and try to encourage people to see and help out with. And there's also accolades for folks who did really awesome stuff over the last year, and themes, which I don't even know what that means, but I guess I'll look at it later and find out. So this is a big deal, and we've got a tweet out on it, which is wonderful. Like I said, we might want to do a couple more. Initial tweet out. What else do we want to do, I guess is the question. And beyond that, the last thing in the table is the one that I just added, which is the APAC Meet Our Contributors blog review. So we can go ahead and discuss the annual report thing, unless there's anything else that people want to bring up. Cool. So the question is, what else do we want to tweet about or promote or do with the annual report? Like I mentioned, the help wanted section is really important, and the annual report folks like Paris would probably particularly appreciate another tweet or two at least about the help wanted section. So we could go ahead and create some drafts for those and just put them in the contributor tweets repo for now. Can't wait until we get buffer. I hope that'll be very soon. So does anybody want to volunteer to take that on, to read through the help wanted section of the annual report and create a tweet about it and put it in contributor tweets?
I can do that.
Cool. And that is Petition. Petition, I'm assigning you in there. Read through help wanted. Create tweets in contributor tweets. Thank you. And anyone else want to volunteer for that, or to, that's the other thing that I would ask people to do is just kind of skim through the annual report and let the group know with an @ message on Slack if you see anything that you think you would particularly like to see promoted from it. Anybody want to volunteer to skim the annual report and give us their feedback?
I will read the annual report summary. So worst case scenario, I would say looks good to me. but yeah.
That's okay. I also want to try to do that. We should all try to, but
Yeah,
just
exactly.
asking if anyone wants their name on it so we can check back in with them on it next week.
Okay.
I can help highlight. I've reviewed this a few times already. So.
Oh yeah, I bet you have the things already in mind probably that you think should be. Anything in particular come to mind that you want to?
Amping up Kubernetes security, how now we generate SBOMs and compliance with SOSA level 3, artifact signing, all the things about having a more secure software supply chain. That section comes up to mind. Some of the enhancements that have gone to GA, but I kind of like the amping up Kubernetes security.
New GA stuff.
Yeah, new GA.
I mean, that's always a good thing to promote.
Of course, the help wanted. There's a good number of SIGs. Each help wanted for each SIG could be its own tweet.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
There's a lot.
We'll see what we can do before next week, and whatever we haven't gotten done, we'll come back to.
Right, sounds good.
Anybody want to claim the SBOM security section of the annual report tweet? Nobody particularly wants to claim it.
I'll take that.
You sure?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Like I said, when we don't get something done, we just come back to it next week and we try to do it then. Thank you. Avinash here. New GA stuff I won't really worry about. I'll try and do that if I can, because I want to skim through it anyway. And I think we don't need to assign anyone to the skimming, really. Just if you do, oh, we already did though. Frederico.
But feel free to remove me and make it a part of the commune.
Yeah, if that's probably more comfortable. You're welcome to tell us about your feedback though next week. It would be most welcome. Cool. And Kes. Thank you, everyone. And we've got some nice work to do there. All right. So we've got 12 minutes left. Is there anything else that folks would like to discuss or do with the last few minutes of this meeting? Everybody feeling good?
So actually, I was away for the past 2 months and I'm not really in sync with the ContribEx folks here. But like after 2 months, this is my first meeting of SIG ContribEx, and I can see there are a couple of changes in the meeting procedures or in the meeting notes. Can you please tell me what happened actually, because the table and stuff, they were
It's
not
new.
there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it personally. So that's a big reason why we're using it. But anyway, so a couple of months ago, I guess, we were discussing the need for kind of more project management of all of the work that we have going on in here. And we were discussing some of the issues with the tools that we had at the time for tracking this kind of work. We would talk about it in the notes. I started doing this thing where I would bold people's names with action items, and that kind of helped. Technically, we were supposed to like create issues and use this board to track all of our tasks in GitHub, but I was really bad at using it, and I know nobody else really was using it significantly. So Hina was a new person who joined our group and started coming to our meetings, who had some project management experience, and she recommended that we try using this table. So we added the table to the notes. That was Hina. Thank you so much, Hina, for creating the table. And what we've been doing with it is what you were just seeing is we put all of our active tasks into the table. Obviously, I like to assign people to them if we can, and then the next week we'll go over them and see what was completed and remove them from the table. So it's a way that we're tracking our active work now. And I've really been liking it. Aside from that, I moved around a couple of things in the regular day-to-day notes just to make sure that we have kind of a flow to our meetings. When we go through updates, big wins, new items, and then we just go through the table. We used to have this section where we do the working session items, where we go through a calendar walk to look for email announcements that we should be sending out, look at draft PRs, which we can always do. And then we try to go through like that task board, but we kind of don't really need to do that anymore with the table, which is nice. Yeah, those are the updates that I can think of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds great. I had one more question.
Yeah.
Like, is there any updates regarding the YouTube automation stuff? Like, are we still going to use Plain, or like previously? I remember me and Nigel were working on that, but I had to drop off because of some personal reasons. So yeah, I just wanted to check on that.
It happens. Is
On
anyone else
that,
here?
yeah, so recently I saw Nigel asking for credentials for automation, I guess, in the SIG ContribEx.
Okay, there was also a PR which I LGTM'd actually. He was adding himself back to the YouTube and Zoom admins. I think work is in progress.
Yes, and also there was a discussion in SIG ContribEx meet, I guess. I don't remember when, but I think Laura, along with someone, was working on some tool. I'm really not sure which tool, but there was some update where Paris and Laura, they were discussing about a new tool which Laura and some person was working on it. So yeah, that's all I remember from the automation part.
Thank you so much, Avinash. I had no idea what was going on there, so it's good to hear about that. Like you said, there's the YouTube admins group. Do they do like regular meetings, or do they just kind of chat in Slack?
Oh, they actually chat in the Slack itself.
Yeah,
we don't have any.
That's pretty common. So I guess you can always check in with them for an update.
Right.
Or specifics, I guess. It sounds like there's a few different things going on there. Wonderful. Did you have any other questions? It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think I saw at least one other new person joined. At the beginning of the meeting, we offered an opportunity for any new folks to introduce themselves and tell us about why you're here, what you'd like to get out of being here, I guess is a good way to say it. So new folks, if you would like to pipe in now and introduce yourself, you are welcome, but it is optional. Cool. So with that, we've got 5 minutes left. Any other last minute discussion items or things that folks want to discuss before I close the recording?
Okay, I have something at the very last moment. Sorry.
That's how it works for me.
Yeah. we in the last meet, I remember we were discussing about the naming conventions that contributor comms would our repo would go with. So have we, do we have some updates on it?
Yeah, so we talked about that a little bit. There was that issue, which Atarva posted. I'll grab that again. If I do this, it's going to open it, isn't it? No, it doesn't. Nice. Okay, so I just posted in the chat. Yeah, renaming the marketing team. Petition also just asked. So this is the issue, I think. Yeah, renaming marketing team to contributor comms impact survey. Oh yeah. So this issue is just kind of to make sure that this is going to be okay. Make sure that nobody has any issues with us doing that. It doesn't have a whole lot of, yeah. So this is in the same issue. The thing I was mentioning earlier, the automation to figure out where we actually reference the repo name and would have to change it is also included in this issue, which is nice. I guess we don't have specifics on what we want to change it to in here, do we? No, we do. We want to change the marketing team subdirectory name to contributor comms. So let me grab that link and we can see exactly what that change will look like. It's this one. So I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, too many things have been going on the last 2 months, right? I agree with that. But we've been getting so much done. It's been wonderful. Anything that we don't get done either comes back or goes away. That's my philosophy. But I put in the link here that would be changing. So you see it's github.com/Kubernetes/community tree master communication marketing team. So that last bit of that link would change to, what did we say? Contributor comms? Yes, contributor-comms.
We were going to have a separate channel as well on Slack, I remember.
Yes, that was the other thing, which I should totally put a row in the table about or something. I will do that. Add a new row below. Yes, so this is something I mentioned also briefly with Chris this week. I think, didn't we talk about that? Maybe we didn't. Because I kind of mix it up with this repo name change in my head. But yes, separate from that, we do want to create a new Slack channel specifically for this group.
If I remember correctly, I think like contributor comms is a sub project of contributor experience.
Yep. Exactly. So what we have been doing is just using the contributor experience channel in Slack and then adding contributor comms. But there were a couple of cases right before KubeCon, especially with creating the tweets for KubeCon, where there was a lot of discussion that needed to happen. So I ended up creating separate direct messages to the people who were working on that project. And the issue with that was that I couldn't add people to those direct messages without completely recreating the room. So all of the messages from before would be removed when I added a new person who I wanted to send those initial messages to and connect with everyone else. So there are some use cases like that where we thought it would be useful for our sub project to have its own consistent, always available room within Slack, channel within Slack. So that's the concept.
I also saw that video of where you and Chris were telling about contributor comms during KubeCon.
How was it? I was too afraid to watch the whole thing.
It was great.
Okay.
Actually, like how many takes did it take?
The first take was fantastic. Of course, the camera wasn't on for that take, so you didn't get to see that one. So then it took 2 more takes after that, so 3.
Wow. In 3 takes, that was pretty amazing.
Thanks. We totally made it up on the spot too. We didn't have a script or anything. First one was so smooth. It was beautiful. Very sad that no one will ever see it. There was no one in the room either, so it's just me and Chris. But yes, also I should grab that link. I think Chris sent it to me, so I should be able to find it pretty quickly. It's already 9, so feel free to drop off if you would like to. But here is the video that we created, which just explains our group and what we do and invites people to join us.
Should we send out a tweet regarding this?
Possibly. We are doing the help wanted section for the annual report, so it kind of fits with that. I don't know. We could discuss it next time. You don't have to do it right this second.
Okay.
To our subject. Awesome. So we are at time. I'm going to go ahead and close out the recording. Also, welcome Leon. He said hello in the chat. Everyone say hello to Leon in the chat. So thank you all so much for joining, and thank you all so much for your work and for helping us with all of these wonderful tasks that we're working on. And we'll see you all next week. And I will end the recording now.